Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Zeus, Record of Ragnarok, Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. This is the round 2 Gods candidate for the Record of Ragnarok series. The Zeus deck focuses on, just like how Thor used the many different orders for the Gods Cardfight Vanguard deck, to focus on some pretty power hit plays, focusing on calling multiple forms of Zeus to the rear guards to do battle with the front row Vanguard, also being able to utilize those many different forms of Zeus to reach his ultimate powerhouse potential. It's a really fun deck to consider if you're a fan of Zeus from the Record of Ragnarok anime. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, just like with Thor, the ride deck consists all of Zeus, with our starter being Zeus. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. The grade 1 is It's Me, Zeus. When this unit is placed on Vanguard by riding on Zeus, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose one Zeus card or one order unit from among them with Zeus in it, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle the rest and then put them on the bottom of your deck. So it's just like the Thor Searcher for the grade 1 choice. Our grade 2 is the Fist That Surpassed Time, Zeus. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding on It's Me, Zeus, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then choose up to one grade 2 or less god from among them, call it to rear, shuffle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So with the grade 2 or less option, the whole deck are gods, so you can have a pretty good search with the top 5 you reveal with this unit. And our grade 3 is the god, father of the cosmos, Zeus. This is your go-to powerhouse in the deck, so along with the ride deck copy, we are running 3 copies of this card in the actual main deck as well. On the Vanguard Circle, once per turn, you can rest one of your rear guards, search your deck for up to one Zeus order card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. These Zeus orders are pretty important just for the overall setup of your play style in the deck, being the additional critical and power that it can provide. And on the Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks, +1, choose one of your rear guards with Zeus in its card name and stand it. So it makes up for the rest that you might have used for one of your Zeus, being able to restand that card and then also attack with it. If by chance you don't have the Counterblast 2, you also have the chance of just restanding that rear guard you rested with your over trigger if you by chance get lucky enough to pull it. But most of the time you will have the Counterblast available to then use with Zeus to at least have a full front row rear guard attack against your opponents. That's it for the grade 3s. Moving on now to the grade 2s. We're running 4 copies of All-Knowing, All-Powerful God Zeus. When this unit attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Zeus in its card name, and your damage zone has 2 or more face-down cards, this unit gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. So counterblasting is definitely a big thing for the Zeus deck. And on rear guard, when this unit attack hits, all your front row rear guards are rest. You can Soul Blast 1 and Countercharge 1, making up for the counterblasts that you use for a good part of the deck, including your orders, thanks to this grade 2. Along with the ride deck copies, we're also running 3 additional copies of the Fist That Surpassed Time. On the rear guard and Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks, if your front row has 3 god units, it gets plus 5,000 to end of battle. So it just is great for a plus 5 additional unit on the rear guard to have against your opponent, being 25,000 against your opponent when you persona ride even alone with this card. And for some additional grade 2s that we run in the deck, we're also running 2 copies of God of Cunning Loki. When this unit is placed on rear guard, you can Soul Blast 2, reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a god, call it to rear guard, just giving you more rear guard setup, but also from the back row center rear guard, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, rest this unit, and all of your front row units get plus 5,000 to end of turn, adding to the power that many of your Zeus can, basically just take advantage of in the power terms, thanks to just Loki sitting in the back row, just like he was in the audience, watching the fight, supporting the gods. Moving on now to the grade 1s. We are running 3 copies of the Messenger of the God Hermes. When this unit is placed on rear from hand, if your Vanguard is a god, you may Soul Charge 1, building up some of the soul for some of your other plays in the decks. And on rear guard, when this unit attacks and as you boosted hits a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, choose a god with a grade equal to or less from your Vanguard from your soul, and call it to the back row rear guard. So once again, working well if you do Soul Charge a Loki, but just being able to set up another card to boost, thanks to Hermes, is what the playstyle of this grade 1 is meant to do overall. Some of the other grade 1s that we run in the deck include 2 copies of Goddess of Beauty, Aphrodite, on rear guard. When your other god attacks, rest this unit, and that unit gets plus 5,000 to end of battle. And from the back row, when your unit attack hits the Vanguard, you can Counterblast 1 and stand this unit. So this is just meant as a way to rest it, and then potentially stand it again when the attack hits, providing additional power in the meantime, thanks to her first ability. And you you do have the chance, it's not going to happen basically ever, to restand it thanks to the overtrigger we run if you do use it and not hit any of the attack hits. At least you have the overtrigger to potentially restand something and then give the power elsewhere. For the other grade 1s that I run in the deck, I also run 2 additional copies of Follower Hermes. When this unit is placed on rear, if your Vanguard is a god, you look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck or into your soul, building up more soul with this card or leaving the trigger as is that may have been on the top of your deck. And also 1 copy of Watchman of the Apocalypse Heimdall, also being able to just give you a counter charge. You do give your opponent one as well, but that can either disrupt their deck depending on what deck they're playing against you. Especially I thought of Lubu, since you have to have more cards face down to use in your damage zone, so you could disrupt that play when you place this Heimdall. If you didn't want to use it, you can always put in a 3rd copy of Follower Hermes or a 4th copy of Messenger of the God Hermes to make up for it. And then with the last grade 1 that we run in the deck, just being the Sentinel, which is Supreme Norse God Odin. Being the God Sentinel, it's the one that can be used when placed, and you have the additional 1 in hand, and if it's the only copy in your hand, you don't have to discard for the cost of your Sentinel, leaving you 1 additional Sentinel in your hand for you to guard with against your opponent. And that is it for the grade 1s. For the normal orders, for Zeus, we are running 4 copies of Legend Passed Down Zeus. You play this card with a counter +1 if you have a Vanguard with Zeus in its card name. Choose one of your rear guards or one of your Vanguards until end of turn. It gets critical +1, and all of your front row get plus 10,000. Choose a card from your hand, and if you do, you may discard it. If you do not discard, choose 2 face down cards from your damage zone and turn them face down. So you turn the face up cards to make up for it as an additional counterblast. You definitely do want to make up for this with the discard, because otherwise you'll be paying dearly for that with some of the counterblasts that you definitely could have used for many of the other cards you run in this deck. With the last of the orders just being 2 additional copies of Final Form of Zeus, Adonis. Play this if you have a Vanguard with Zeus in its card name. Choose up to 1 unit card with Zeus in its card name from your soul. Call it to rear, and all your front row get plus 5,000. Well, not as good as the pressure unit for your grade 3. You do have the option to search this card with your Ride Deck Search for an order that can be used early on, and saving the Legends Passed Down Zeus for when you're at your grade 3 Vanguard Zeus to then swing with your opponent and have a full front row attack to use as well. Moving on now to the triggers. We're going for more of a pressure-based deck, but we're still testing out the Rainbow line. So we are running, additionally, 4 copies of the much-awaited Encounter, and also 2 copies of the Strongest by Nature. With these being the critical choice, you have the added pressure along with the Zeus order and these cards to use for that play. And we are running 3 copies of the Rush bordering on Overheating for the additional shield that this card provides, and just more pressure to add to the front row with a Persona Ride, the Zeus order, and this card you can hit for 30,000 power total, and 2 of the Underpining Style, so you at least have a little more hand consistency and the +5 shield with the draw. With the final triggers just being 4 of the Heavenly Melody for the heal trigger used by the gods, and lastly the over trigger, which is the Ragnarok restanding, which, like I said, there are plenty of cards that you rest in this deck, so while it may not happen often, there's still the chance that if you couldn't stand the unit by your other abilities, you can reveal the Ragnarok overtrigger and stand it, and then split the power how you wish with those cards. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's definitely an awesome deck. Zeus was definitely one of the more zany characters from the Record of Ragnarok anime, so definitely probably a fan favorite by a lot. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.